on, people? I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic time wherever you are in the world, however you are, whatever you're doing. If you are watching on the YouTube video, you can see that we are joined by some guests. I'm going to hand over to Ethan to introduce our extremely esteemed guest.
This is a special day for the podcast, a special day for me. This is my mother, the greatest woman in the world.
We've got a Marjay in the house. Marjay's in the house.
AKA Kate, or Kate 8. And we have the polymath,
yes,
which is Carl Ape, aka Musings of an Aquatic Ape. Thank you both very much for joining us. I am overjoyed. For those who are listening, it's been 11 months since I've seen my mother because of COVID lockdowns. I was supposed to go down in November and then again in January, and my heart was pouring, and it's nice to be back. It's nice to be home. It's nice to have that. It's also nice to have Carl here. Splendid company as always, and we're going to have a fantastic weekend.
Yep.
I think that's my introduction over.
Thank you, Ethan!
What are we talking about today?
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic episode. We're covering 2021. We're over the halfway mark, so we're going to talk about things that we've done that we're very, very proud of, that we're happy about, and we're also going to talk about things that hopefully by the end of 2021 we would have been proud for achieving in the second half. So I'm very, very excited. So we're just going to go into it.
Go into it, bro.
So the first question of the day, and we're going to hand it to our guest first because they've prepared. As you guys know on the show, we don't usually. As you know on the show, usually we send the brief. We don't prepare. Usually, I throw the questions at Fabian and Ethan, and they take a bit of time to respond because they need time. Whereas our guests have prepared. So the first question of the day, and we're going to hand over to you guys first, is if you could learn one skill without needing any training whatsoever, what would it be?
Can I go first?
Yes,
I knew straight away what I was going to say. And it's something that I've been kind of working on this year and been thinking about and been preparing the space to do it. Yeah. And that is, I want to start doing some joinery. I want to start building some stuff, using some woodworking tools, getting to grips with making things out of wood in particular. So I've got lots of ideas that came from a problem that we had. That was, we couldn't find a toast rack with wide slices. To put sourdough toast in. I mean, what else? The problem is,
the problems people have in life.
So
I think you find that's a first world problem.
And I thought, I could make one.
Yeah.
So, joinery is the thing that I would go for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And other than the toast rack, once mastering joinery without even having to think about it or work on it, what would be the thing that you make with this new skill?
Ooh, I think I would like to make some garden furniture.
Oh,
very
Some
nice.
really nice
Very
garden
nice.
furniture. Yeah.
Really?
Some robust, kind of rustic,
Yeah.
stuff that you can just leave out and it kind of gets weathered and
That's it.
but is sturdy.
That looks good. The better.
Yeah,
the older
exactly.
it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing too pristine, I think.
And for the listeners at home, my mother has a wonderful garden, green fingers in the family, all the way down from my grandmother to my mother. Her garden is amazing. Maybe we'll get some pictures flashing up on screen.
Yep.
There are wild animals in there at all times that are feeling welcome and homely. So hopefully that garden furniture will accompany it very nicely.
Thank you.
Really nice. Now to yourself.
Well, as Kate knows and Ethan knows, for a long time I've been a very semi-competent musician. I love music. I like playing it, but I'm not very good at it. So just enough to accompany myself. So what I would really love to do without having to do any work whatsoever is to become a really masterful or mistressful jazz pianist.
Ooh.
Nice.
I have to say, the skill of being able to just sit down at any piano in the world and just go would be an incredible thing. There was a train in, I want to say St Pancras or maybe King's Cross. Yeah. You could just pull up and you'd get a crowd in no time.
St Pancras has pianos all the way through it, and there's various others. It's been a huge project in the last few years to have public pianos, right? So anyone can come on and play them, and you get some beautiful stuff, right? You've probably seen it on YouTube. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
So to be able to just go, I'm going to entertain some people, and I have the confidence to know that where my fingers go is going to sound beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. At the moment, I have the confidence to know that where my fingers go is not going to sound.
I want to touch on that, Rachel. I think one thing what they do with that, which is so great, is that it's that whole people have that confidence to go play in front of people. So imagine you're just waiting for your train, and then someone goes plays this lovely music. And what I think is so great about that, it reminds people how fantastic the world can be. Because damn, my train's delayed, and then you forget the train. Like, you know, who's that? Oh, Facebook. I've been seeing this, so So I think it's one of those great ideas that I think are doing so much better for people. So I love that.
Yeah, that's a wonderful skill. Yeah, I would love that.
Oh, people, I want to say one thing quickly. What I just noticed, if you go back and see how Kate said, "Can I go first?" It kind of brought me back a few episodes that someone, obviously, her son here, Ethan, does exactly the same thing. And I think it's so great to see that kind of relation from it. If you haven't seen it, I might try and actually put 2 clips together so you can actually see it. I think it's absolutely amazing. So I just want to say that was actually great to witness and just see how it's something that he actually does.
Where it's coming from.
Exactly.
You know, so if you've got any questions about genetic determinism,
You know what? I'm going to seize this moment and I want to answer my question. There's a YouTube channel, I can't remember his name, but he's a man who lives in New York, which is very diverse. And what he does is he spends 3 weeks learning a language and then goes to a shop. He's a white presenting man, goes into the shop, he learns very niche languages, and then starts ordering fluently, completely throwing off the servers, the diners in there that are often from the local area, and I'd love to be able to do that. I'd love to be able to pick up a language in 2 or 3 weeks and travel.
I'm leaving. He's taking my answer. I'm leaving.
I mean, that was my answer as well. I don't know that, That's my answer.
And that is yet another example of why you seize the day, so no one else can say otherwise.
Well, I'll probably go next because obviously Jen hasn't got a backup, so I'm gonna go next because I had a backup. I think a few weeks ago we asked a similar question, like what kind of job you would go into, and because I can't do the language, my one would be just to pick up a trade, would be able to do what people do with computers. When I say people, I mean the people that can take apart a computer, pull it back together, re-script it, the whole thing. I think it's the people that can go into like the back door of Google or the back door of the internet just like that. I would love to be able to do something like that. It's like, you know, not these small little problems where I say, okay, hold on. And then you see all these black screens come up with all these different kind of coding, like, done. And, like, I would love to be able to do that kind of coding and that part of like computernomics, I think is the correct word.
I think that's really good, Fabian. One of my backups was hacker.
That's, you know, everyone goes, how do you get to the dark web? Oh, I can get there easy. So I would love to be able to know that, because like I said before, where the world is going, I think the more you know about computers and how they work, you probably survive a lot longer.
I definitely feel a bit stitched up, if I'm honest. I asked the question and then was proceeded to be just taken over by everybody, and I don't have a problem with that, because I think a few episodes ago we asked a question about an athlete, and I definitely said the 2 athletes that you had.
You know when he's not acting like it doesn't happen to him? Like, he does it all the time.
I'm a perpetrator of the issue at play, so I understand that you know, I've got my comeuppance now. So after thinking, because Fabian went and gave me enough time to think about it, I would say the one skill that I would love to be able to pick up with no training at all is the ability to fly a plane. I would love the ability to fly a plane. I watch some videos on YouTube and TikTok of these guys who just own planes, and whenever they want, however they want, they can just jump to the airstrip and fly. It could literally just be fly for half an hour and they're, you know, from London to Scotland, or it could be a lot further, and they can go on a whim. They don't have to worry about buying tickets, they don't have to worry about, you know, all these other things. They can just get in their plane and go, and I think that would be a wonderful experience. Also, worst case scenario, you're on a plane, the pilot can't fly for whatever reason, you've come to the rescue, you're the hero. Exactly, you're in the newspaper the next day because you got everybody to their holiday or wherever they need to go, right? So I would say for me, it's got to be the ability to just fly just like that.
So what you're really saying is you want to be a superhero without any training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If it could just be to fly on my own, that was a bit, or just to try and teleport, that would be what it would be. But now we're going to get into a little bit more of the meat of the episode, with a little bit more understanding who we have on the couch with us today.
Yes.
So far. So the question is, over the last 6 months, as we've just passed the... It wasn't the equinox, it was the solstice.
The solstice.
The summer solstice, as we've got here now. We would like to ask, what have you achieved so far? What is the thing that you are proudest of achieving over the last 6 months that have set your 2021, regardless of all the challenges and the hurdles you may have had to go over to get here? What is the thing that you are proudest of achieving and coming to over the last 6 months? Anybody is welcome to go first.
I'll happily go first again. Apparently it's in my genes as well.
You see it there? I told you.
So I'll start with a bit of backstory. In 2020, pre-pandemic, I had my CESA exam booked, which was related to my job and my progression. This was booked for late April, and I was studying towards it. The pandemic came around, exam centres closed, which meant that I was no longer able to study for this exam. I had a number of setbacks over the next kind of 8 to 10 months. Which led to me pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And then early January I decided I need to book this. So once I know I've booked it, I'm going to force myself to study, and I'm going to find that consistency that I need to get the job done. And I spent the next 2 months studying almost daily for at least half an hour to an hour every day, doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions. And then finally I just passed the exam. I woke up one morning. Actually, no, there was a twist to it, because on the morning of the exam, there were some technical difficulties, which means it had to be delayed 2 days, which put it from a Friday, which is quite a nice day to have an exam, when you have the full day ahead of you, to a Sunday, which I was planning to go and train. So I then woke up Sunday morning, no lying, which I normally appreciate, but I said, I'm here now, let's get to it. The exam was about 4 hours long. After 2 hours, I said, I'm done with this. I don't want to be in this room anymore. I've done all the questions, I've gone over it 2-3 times, and I feel confident and I'm about to pass this exam. And I passed it, and I felt amazing. I felt really accomplished, and it meant that now, I had an appraisal 2 weeks ago of work for my job, and I said I passed my CESA exam. By August I'm going to be fully qualified with my time, because I'd done a master's previously, and I just felt on top of the world. In that time I felt very accomplished. I felt like I've already achieved halfway through these 6 months what I had set out to achieve for this half year, which allowed me to focus on other things. So that was mine.
Well done! Yes! And one of the things that I want to point out there was there was a change. There was a moment there where things were not set out the way that they had originally been set out. You'd worked, and I saw every moment of your working. There were times when I'd come into this room in the morning before work, and you'd be at your desk, at your computer working. You're like, I've got to get ready for this exam. And there'd be times after work where I'd be like, oh, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to play PlayStation? Do you want to do this? I've got to get ready for my exam. That discipline and that focus to get you ready for that Friday was intense. And then to have the moment, I remember on the Friday when you were like, it's not happening, there was something wrong, there was something not going right. And for you to be like, cool, it gives me another 2 days to get in the zone. And by getting in the zone, you weren't racking your brain with what to do. You took time, you were very mindful in your approach to it. And I think that was incredible, because as opposed to being like, things are going wrong, it's not fitting to my time scale, you were like, this is something that I cannot control. What I can control is my mindset and how I approach this challenge. You gave yourself a minute and you said, right, I've got more time to prepare. I've also got more time to relax and take the pressure and the stress out of the situation. And that's what you did. And then, like you say, you smashed it. You did it in half of the time, and you blew it out of the water. So it was an incredible thing for me to see, because it taught me how to approach these moments. So yeah, you're incredible.
This is my Friday, my favourite day of the week.
No, definitely. I think, like, just to jump on that as well, it's like, for some people, where like the exam would have not been able to happen on a Friday, would have still gone out that weekend, probably would have got in the wrong headspace, not ready for the Sunday, that Sunday morning goes, right, I've got to do this exam, but you still stayed with it and goes, you know what, I'm still going to smash it out, like, I'm still going to do this, I'm still going to pass it, and you went ahead and did it. And one thing I wanted to ask you is that obviously you've just completed your, like you said, you just not too long completed your Masters. How long was your Masters?
Masters was a year.
Was a year. So, and you're saying you're almost going to be fully qualified now. It's that whole journey that we keep trying to show people. It doesn't happen just like that. You still had to do everything, and you're still sticking at it. And now you're starting to reap the rewards of the journey you've been on. And it's great to see that from you, bro.
Yeah, it's incredible. Thank you very much. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's 3 rounds of applause.
Good today.
Yeah.
Who's up there?
Right, who would like to go?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got to be one of the guests. It's got to
Yeah.
be one of the guests.
Yeah. Give me son first and then mum.
So I kind of was thinking, right, what am I most proud of this first half of the year? And actually, I suppose it didn't actually start until April, the thing that I was most proud of, because for me, I don't know, I do a very physical job, but it's quite tiring sometimes. And I'm out in the gardens, I'm out in all weather, the winter's tough, and it's sometimes it's cold and miserable, and it's and my body's aches, and so I'm eating the porridge and checking the carbs in, and things start to go up and up and up. Right, when the gym reopens, Carl, I'm going back to the gym. Last time we didn't go back, and it was this time I was I'm going back to the gym. So day one. April 12th, wasn't it? Yeah. April 12th. I was on the doorstep of the gym, 6:30, waiting for the doors to open. I want to get weighed, please. And from that moment forth, I got weighed every Monday, and not only that, but so I started a downward progression weight-wise, eating really healthy, cutting out any rubbish, not drinking alcohol, staying off that. I've had two or three drinks, but nothing kind of more than one drink a night or anything like that, and just kind of sticking with it, and really progressing my fitness, not just my aerobic fitness, but my strength and my flexibility as well. And about 3 weeks ago, I hit my target.
Let's go! That's incredible.
And I felt so good, and my gym took a photograph of me and did a little piece on me about me hitting my target.
That's incredible.
And it wasn't, and it's so what's your next target? I need another target. I was great. I can have a little think about this. So
okay, let me ask, what job do you actually do?
I'm now a gardener. I used to be a teacher, but
And you do all skills? Because obviously you talked about doing garden furniture earlier.
Yeah.
So now it's all coming together for me. So I'm just trying to put it more together for the actual.
So I started off doing garden maintenance and just kind of tidying up people's gardens, because that's where my skill set was really. But over the last 3 years, it's kind of grown. And now I'm starting to do a bit more garden design, starting to put in a bit of hard landscaping, building raised beds and doing edging. And taking up kind of bigger gardens and working them on projects over time. So
so it is a very, very physical job.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that and going to the gym. Let's go. Let's go.
I'll tell you, going to the gym in the morning kind of sets me up for the day. It's like that kind of endorphin kick that you get from working out. It's just like, whoa!
It's great. It's great.
I'm powerful now.
You know what's really funny? The more you talk, the more the similarities are shown. because we have spoken previously on this podcast about how Ethan loves to be up in the morning and to start the morning with something productive. That sets you up so much for the day. So it's funny to see that mirrored image there again.
Well, I have to say, because you guys are going to do a press-up challenge.
Yes.
And at that point, I tried to see how many press-ups I could do. I was like, one.
But how many can you do now?
Okay, well I do 3 sets of 10 now. So.
There will be a warning at the start of this episode for anybody with the headphones that this is definitely a louder episode. So you might want to turn it down a little bit. There's a lot of cheering and clapping, which is magic.
3 sets of 10.
Let's go. That's incredible.
And going upwards.
Good. Good. That's really good.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking mine's a bit more philosophical,
Fantastic.
I thought one of the things that I got caught up in, I think, with some of my work is getting tangled up in things where I think, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing that. I'm trying to get people to think about things differently. And I do a lot of improvisation. I do an improvisation group once a week, right? And the principle of improvisation is yes and, right?
Yes.
So someone gives you an offer, and you go yes and, rather than no, I don't think that's a good idea, right? So you go with it. So I thought, I'm going to practice that in my work. So when someone goes, maybe we should do this, I go, yeah, okay, let's look at that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. And it's really kind of changed the way that my orientation is towards things. I feel a lot calmer, right?
Yeah.
And I think also it touches on something else that you were saying, Ethan, about your ability to go to to characterise what it is you can do something about and what you can't do anything about.
Exactly.
Which philosophically also makes a little tie up, because I've been reading more about this philosophy called Stoicism, right? Which is this central tenet is know what you can do something about and know what you can't, and focus on those things you can, because you can choose how you respond. No one can make you angry, you choose how you respond. Now, it requires a certain amount of self-awareness. I agree. I acknowledge that. There's buttons that get pressed to me, and I'll go. But I know that I have a choice.
All of us.
So for me, it's a more philosophical achievement, really. Just to.
One thing I would like to say, I know Ethan's got a really powerful point here, so I'm going to jump in before Ethan blows the audience and us away with what we're about to say. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's a different. You looked at the brief from a different lens, so thank you so much. But also, I just want everybody to take notice of how the energy changed. The different energies that are presented show the different ways in which we perceive and present. And you presented from a different place. You said, I'm going to take it to a philosophical lens. And the energy went from very high and celebratory to almost like quite stoic. Well, in the way that you're talking, it was very calm. It was very focused. It was very pure. And we all responded to it in the way you were speaking and presenting. So slightly off topic, but just notice how the energy in the room changed, but also how the energy of everybody's responding to it changed, because I think that was a magical moment.
It's amazing what you're saying, because it's true. It's like Kate was just speaking about how she had this physical, like great physical goal that she completed, and then Cargo's just saying like this mindful part, and it's some people will be watching and see it blow them away, not understand why did it do that. And it's like, it's when you take it in, and I'm taking it in because for me, I'm remembering where as a kid I always used to be angry. And then I had that change where I said, like, when my mum passed, where now it's like, why am I angry still? Because it's like, you just seen how life can go like that, so nothing to be angry about. So it's like to the point when people say certain things, you're like, it is what it is. And that's it. And that's why it touched me just a little bit more of what you said there. But yes, let Ethan steal the show.
So there is something that you might have picked up by listening in, but Kate spoke about doing joinery, but also my mum draws, and Carl draws. Carl does this improv class, and both of them have developed skills that you might not normally connect. You might not necessarily connect drawing with gardening. You might not necessarily connect improv with speaking. I guess you maybe will since I'm reflecting on that. But for example, acting, and what Kate and Carl do incredibly well is they go, oh, what do I want to learn? And then they set about going and learning about this and mastering it in an incredibly short space of time, because they have habits that they built over years that have enabled them to be so successful at these things. But they also make them interlink in a way that we should all take a lesson from. How can you use your current skill set or what you enjoy doing for fun to give you a boost, to progress you in certain things? How can you use that skill to elevate yourself? And that is something that I continuously learn from the both of you. So thank you.
And on that note, just one thing I want to say is that so you said that you're learning new things. So how long have you, like you said, you started to learn to draw, and so that say like the top 2 things you've just learned, I would say, in the last year?
Oh, dressmaking for me. I've been doing watching the sewing bee, and then like getting a sewing machine now. I've made a few things I'm quite proud of this year.
And Carl, for you?
Using my fingers to play the guitar rather than strumming.
And the reason why I asked this question now, obviously we're more into I would say the 20 brackets, the 30 brackets or so. And my whole thing behind that is that to show the people that no matter your age, you can still learn something new. And there's so many people that will say, oh, it's too late. Oh, I can't do this now. And this is why when Ethan said, you guys come down, you're going to show, I said, I can't wait. I said, I'm going to pick the airs. And it's these kind of things I want people to see, because we talk about it from now, you're talking about it and you're still doing it. And it's that whole thing, it's like, life is life. It doesn't matter what age you are. You just completely learn whenever you want.
Well, it makes it exciting as well, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Like learning a new skill, like discovering something, and finding out that you can do things.
That's it. And that's the whole thing. It's like, I tell people, stop being scared to fail at doing something new, and be thinking about, what if it actually works? What if I pick this up? It's that whole learning a new language. I say, but imagine by the end of the year I'm speaking Mandarin. How crazy that would be. Like, you know, it's that kind of thing, and then people think like it's impossible, but there's people out there doing it. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.
Have you said?
I haven't.
Here you go.
You know what? I'll happily go. I'll happily go because we are currently doing the thing that I think I'm most proud of over the last 6 months.
Cool.
The first episode of our podcast was 2020 wrapped up. So if you go on any of the podcasting apps, if you're listening to this on the podcasting app, the first episode on here on season 1 is 2020 wrapped up.
Yep.
It's funny that we did a wrap up episode to start our show, which is quite funny. And we've kept that. We've kept that going. We recorded that the 23rd of December, maybe something along those lines. And we're here now, and we have had guests. We have gone to different places. We have built up a strategy, a consistency, and an energy.
Spoken in front of people.
We've publicly spoken. So I think this is probably the thing that I'm proudest of over the last 6 months, because we have built something that people respond to, that people enjoy, that people grow from. And when you first set out, and it comes back to this whole thing, the kind of main topic of the day actually feels like is these skills and trying new things and trying to learn new things, where people say, what if they fail, but what if they succeed? And currently we're in the process of constantly failing and trying to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, what doesn't work, what does work, and how do we come back and provide something of substance to the people listening and watching, but also to ourselves. And I love being on this journey. I love doing this with people I love and incredible guests who I also love. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that encompasses the people closest to me, but also it's growing and is encompassing people who I don't even know, which I definitely think I'm proudest of.
But Jed, I think there's something really important there, because I think the way that you see it changes how you perceive it, right? I really believe that. So, for example, if you think that you do lots of things and you keep failing, then you have this frame that says, I'm failing. Whereas if you go, I keep doing these things and they don't work, but I'm learning loads of stuff. Right? It's the same reality, it's just the way you're looking at it is different, and it will work better for you. So there is no failure, there's learning.
It's just keeping that positive mindset, isn't it?
That's it. It's like I would never have guessed like 6-7 months ago I'll be editing all this all the time. You know what I mean? Like people like I remember so I went away a while ago with my uncle, and his missus was like to me, what do you mean you don't watch Netflix? I mean, he's busy, you know, this guy doesn't I go to work, I go home, I'm editing, I'm doing the thumbnail, I'm thinking like, Netflix only sees me maybe Saturday. Literally, Monday to Friday, I don't exist to it. And it's that whole thing, it's like you said, like, I enjoy it. And at first, I felt like, you go back to like the Hidden Depression video, the volume's all over the place. And it's like, now I know how to fix that. And it's like, all these little things I'm thinking like, it's that whole journey. It's you don't fail to like be a disaster, you fail to correct it, correct yourself. So it's been a great journey.
So what have you learned?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, see, there's two big things for me. I think one massively has to be the box crew. I think being at the event, seeing such warm and like everyone's great reactions to it, it just amazed me. To think 2 years ago, I had this little idea in my head, and it's like, this exists now. Like this is here. You know what I mean? Like, like it's here, and it wasn't a case of like it's just like it's one box. It's like no, it's 100+ boxes. Like you have to do this. I'm like what? And like so to see that was very like that hit home for me. I was like wow, especially like just for my journey as well. And I think one thing that shocked me this year was so I only ever heard of a CCJ before. Say a year ago that it's bad, you don't want it, you don't have it, you don't want it, and then I found out I had one, but I was just like, how do I have one? Because I never heard of it, right? And no one could tell me, so I was doing all this digging online, trying to find out who do I call, who do I speak to, and I remember I've been on hold for like an hour and a half at one point, 45 minutes for another point, finally spoke to someone, then I had to pay like £150 to find out what the CCJ was. And then I found out what it was, found out it had nothing to do with me, and this whole process, I think for me, was one of my biggest things. I think, like I said, at my age, a lot of people don't even know how to go through these steps, and it's like slowly finding these steps, trying to correct my debt, correct my credit score, trying to better myself, so when I want to buy another house or buy another property, it's okay. And so even though I'm still in the process now, it's the whole point, it's going to court now. It's because I've got enough evidence to say I had nothing to do with this. And so for me, the first part of the year, I think that was my biggest thing, because only a couple of weeks ago I got the letter to say it's going to Bromley Court, be ready, you're going to get a date. and then hopefully then it's off, and then
You can move.
yeah, then we're on another move. So yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, I think that the box screw, that's the biggest highlight for me for the last 6 months. Absolutely amazing.
If you would like to hear more about the box crew, we have an episode of it. Just go back a few episodes. This right now. I interview Fabian and Jen about their amazing box.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, follow them on Insta too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, now thank you so much for that. We covered some good ground. We've all had some eventful 6 months. That's for sure. So now we're going to go into our second question of the day, and for our regular listeners, for our regular viewers, you know the middle question is always Fabian's 5 minutes of
Where my foodies at? Let's go.
Okay, so now this question here.
Who's hungry?
This is quite an exciting question because I don't know if you guys can tell from the lighting, but the sun is out, which can,
Yeah,
and I'm in
hot.
shorts, which can, as is Ethan, which can only mean that it is summertime. Summertime. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we probably can't sing any more of that before we get copyright. Yeah, before we get copyright infringement. So the question is, what is your favourite summer pudding or your favourite 5-minute meal? Is that the question just because I didn't ask it?
We'll say, what is your favourite summer dessert?
Yes.
Or meal?
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that one.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't even thought about this one, so I'm going to allow people to go first because there's definitely more prepared people in here.
I'll go first.
Beat me to it!
I like this a lot. This is cool. This is good.
That's easy for me. It's my favourite summer pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is you've got to tell people how to make it as well, right?
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
gorgeous.
Take us through it.
So
Okay,
gorgeous.
so
Okay.
Because sometimes that's what Fabian does.
Alright.
Fabian will say something and then he'll go into a whole
Yeah.
process. So please.
I mean, I might even try, as you're speaking, I might just try to zoom this in a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
So my favourite summer pudding is actually summer pudding.
Oh,
You know what summer pudding
nicely
is?
done.
No,
Not a clue. So this
No,
I know
no,
exactly
I
what
don't know. Do you guys know what it is?
I know, because Ethan's very fond of it.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate enough in my garden to have a vegetable patch.
Okay.
And one of the things that you can't buy in supermarkets these days are black currants and red currants. And they are two of the main ingredients for summer pudding.
Okay.
So in my garden I have ripening rapidly black currants and red currants.
Nice.
Which will go in summer pudding, and they will be gently stewed with a little bit of sugar together with some strawberries and raspberries.
Ooh.
Strawberries I've also got in the garden, raspberries I haven't, but I have a lady whose garden I do. She has a massive raspberry patch. And she's in her 90s, bless her, she can't eat many raspberries at a time, so she's just take the rest.
You're doing the good work. You know, you're making those raspberries don't go to
Are you
waste.
sure? Okay, no problem.
I'll tell you that raspberry patch is tended to a T. We had our first pick this week, and she was like, take half. I was like, no, it's just a small amount. I was like, no, you haven't this time. I'll take them when there's lots, thanks. So they will be going into the freezer, ready for the summer pudding for when you guys come down. So basically, it's bread.
Okay.
So good quality sliced bread round the side of a pudding bowl.
Yep.
Put your gently stewed fruit in. You make a little bread lid for it.
Yeah.
And then you put a weight on the top. So a bit from within a £2 weight. Shove it in the fridge for 24 hours. And all the juices soak into the bread.
Nice.
And then you just flip it out and serve it with a big dollop of creme fraiche and a little jar of
That sounds like
jug
summer.
of like fruit puree as well.
Yeah, that sounds like summer right there.
Yeah.
That sounds-
Coolie, I think. So yeah, it's just fresh out of the garden. It's just like of the moment, you know.
I can
And
see
it
Kate
just
now
is-
in her garden with that
Yeah.
sitting there, you know, looking at the raspberry like.
Tell you what, Fabian, when these guys come down, we'll make sure we take a photo.
I'll try and smuggle some back.
Yeah.
If it's not being finished.
You know what I mean? Coming back and I'm just getting the bread like guys. Yeah, great, nice
That's
one.
fantastic.
Who's going next?
And you know what? She makes the bread.
Yeah?
Yes.
I mean, that's completely homemade pudding right there.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds like to me.
Yeah.
And next you're going to tell me like she got the flour herself?
There's no food miles in this one. There's just food yards.
Yeah. Love it, absolutely love it. I'll go because for me, I think I'm gonna keep it simple. Summertime is hot, and I always love at the end of the day a Solero.
Ooh.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, Magnum's a bit sweet sometimes, you got too much chocolate. I think with Solero it's more refreshing.
Yeah.
So I think after you've had like, you know, your dinner or whatever, it's starting to cool down, and then go in the freezer, get the Solero, and then that's me done.
Yeah.
So for me, that is one of great times, summertime dessert.
Yeah.
Or even snack.
What flavour do you go for?
It's got to be the orange mango one.
Yeah.
It's got to be that one.
Yeah.
Has to be that one.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a really nice touch.
Anyone else?
I'm still thinking about that summer pudding, so my.
He's like, how could she not bring that down?
So I'm gonna give you an answer, right? And,
Yeah.
and it's more in the kind of 5-minute meal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna own it as a summer just because I did it the other day.
Okay.
And I haven't done it since last summer, so we
Yeah.
can call
So
it
it's a summer.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like a summer dish. Yeah,
Right,
it's
so we're coming here, right? So we're running down the stocks because we're really good at planning food. We don't like
Yeah,
food waste, so we plan our meals. We eat what we get. We don't throw food away. Right?
Yeah.
It's important. So this meal is very simple. You put some oil in the bottom of a pan.
Yeah.
You put some garlic in. You put some anchovies in. You let them disintegrate at a
Okay.
very slowly.
Okay.
Right, but that takes 2 or 3 minutes. Right. Then you put some dried chili flakes in.
Yeah.
You put seeds in as well if you want some kick. Right. Okay. To taste, of course.
Yeah.
Bit of pepper. You want a bit of, heat contrast.
Yeah.
Tin of tomatoes, let it all combine. Swirl it into some nice pasta, the kind of pasta that holds the sauce, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, there you go, 5 minutes.
And
Wow.
it's delicious. I can confirm that it's delicious. I've also been taught it, and I'll make it for you guys sometime.
Oh,
I
I
mean, obviously, as soon as I heard anchovies, I was like, this is where this guy gets the anchovies from.
Yeah, because
Obviously, we don't really mess with the anchovies, but like that, obviously, as it's Fabian's 5 minutes of food, I will confirm to you, when you're cooking anchovies like that, it's a completely different thing than eating it straight out of the tin.
yeah, you don't want to try
Yeah. See, that's...
They're used as a seasoning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a bit harsh.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, I'm telling you, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Yeah, definitely.
That's
None of this with a tin of anchovies.
Yeah. Not that at all.
That just sounds really nice. Actually, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I need some of that. So Ethan, get on it.
Okay.
Get on it.
I'll get on it and I'll start talking as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually going to try and make this dish tomorrow, on Sunday. So this is actually something that I got from you guys as well. It's Mexican inspired, but it's hard shell taco, so I know that doesn't quite qualify for all my Mexican listeners out there.
Franco, we're sorry if you're listening.
But we do a Mexican style inspired beef mince, which is cooked with cumin and fresh coriander and black beans, as well as doing some guacamole, which we have obviously the avocado, a squeeze of lime juice, a good squeeze of lime juice, some chopped up coriander because coriander is central.
It is.
Crunch of black pepper and sea salt, and then sometimes we chop it up with some tomatoes, but I'm going to make a salsa, so get my chilies, a bit of olive oil. I'm going to have to look up the recipe because I don't remember everything. And that is going to be served with either some tortilla chips or some lightly warmed hard shell tacos.
I mean, I'm really loving Fabian's 5 minutes of food right now.
Yeah,
I think this is the perfect time everyone needs to hit the like button because this is crazy right now.
Yeah, definitely.
This is crazy right now.
And that's me done, and my belly is happy and full.
Yeah, I'm getting really hungry. I have to say, we might have to stop recording here just so we can have some food because I'm really hungry. And after having all of these incredible meals, and even after having Fabian Solero, I'm gonna finish off with maybe the simplest of desserts that you can go for, and just finish with some sorbet. That's how I would finish every single summer meal.
Yeah.
For the rest of eternity. The most refreshing dessert in my life. I would say I'd give it a little bit of probably lemon sorbet is my favourite. It is the
Cleanses
most...
the palate after a
Making
meal.
some notes.
Exactly. If there's not lemon sorbet when I come, I'm going.
When he comes, man, make sure the lemon's sorbet.
Otherwise, the TripAdvisor report will be terrible.
Yeah, genuinely, lemon sorbet, refreshing, light, and like you said, it's a palate cleanser. So happily would get me ready for the rest of the evening. So yeah, lemon sorbet for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
Wicked.
That's
Okay,
it,
so now we're gonna move. We're gonna
Keep
move
it
in.
rolling, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna move in. And like Fabian just said, after all of that, you must have to like, comment, subscribe, all of that, because we want to see, first of all, what you guys would have. What would be your perfect summer meal? What would be your 5-minute meal? Anything like that, we want to hear from you. So, going into the second half, we're going to speak about what is it over the next 6 months that you would like to achieve? What is it that you have set out to achieve by the end of 2021? Because, like I said, we started this podcast with a 2020 wrap-up. By the 2021 wrap-up, we want to know if you have achieved the thing that you're about to say. So we're going to hold each person in this room accountable to our own goals for the next 6 months. So is there anybody who would like to go first?
Oh, me?
I love it, she's ready to go.
I like the
Yeah.
trend.
Hey, she's got you on the back foot right now.
I just inherited the
Yeah.
balls you made.
Mastered it, yeah.
I know if I don't get in there quick.
Love it, take it away.
Right, okay, so going along with the kind of joinery kind of making theme, this year I've spent the first sort of half of the year developing our garage into a bit of a she shed.
Nice.
Okay.
So we put windows in it, we've like made it kind of watertight, painted it. I've got racking up for all my garden tools, so
Yes.
it's all nice and organised. But there's a big gap down one side.
Okay.
And in that gap is going to go a workbench.
Okay.
And because workbenches are traditionally very heavy,
Yeah.
and because we live up quite a steep slope, quite a long drive,
Yeah.
I'm going to make one. So I'm going to start upskilling, getting my joinery skills together. Someone said, oh yeah, you can do that pretty easily. So I'm going to get the materials, and by the end of the year, I'm going to have a fully functioning workshop with a really beautifully made workbench and some good lighting above it. That's the other
Lovely.
thing that's got to go
And
in.
what I would like you to do is when you go back home, take a picture of what your garage looks like now.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then at the end of the year, also take the picture so we can pull it on our wrap up at the end of the year.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, we want to see it.
Love that.
Lovely.
Yeah, because that sounds incredible. And once you've made this workbench, once this workbench is there, what is the first thing that you're going to use to create on this workbench?
Ooh.
Great question.
Ooh, that is a
Great
really good
question.
question.
Because they prepared, you
Yeah.
see, they prepared for the questions, and so I've got to throw something impromptu. You know, I can't let you
Okay,
just be
so
steady.
what I haven't decided yet is exactly what tools I'm going to need. So I'm going to be going to a local men's shed,
Ooh.
and they are going to be like, I'm going to be learning.
Yeah.
Learning
What's
on the
that
job.
over there?
Yeah.
So, exactly. How does this work? What
Yeah.
can you do with that? How do we make joints out
Do
of
you
that?
need this anymore?
So, the first thing I'm going to make is, because where the windows have been put in, it's not particularly attractive, is to make some really nice wooden surrounds. But I want to make some with like little boxes that come out, so I can have little storage boxes
Nice.
right around the window, so that I can put things that I need to hand in, you know,
Yeah.
tape measure there, or this there, or a screwdriver there, or
Nice.
so I'm going to have a little kind of storage. I'll make that. Yeah.
Okay, that
That'll be the
actually.
first thing I make.
Do you know of a YouTuber called Casey Neistat?
No.
Casey
No.
Neistat.
So
yes.
we've mentioned Casey Neistat before.
I'm putting him down there.
Yeah.
Down there somewhere.
Yeah, we'll be in the link because Casey Neistat in his studio in New York, very similar concept of creating a studio or a workbench where every single thing they could possibly need is labelled incredibly clearly and right in front of him. So he has literally everything sorted out perfectly, almost too perfect. It's like a robot has built this. It literally has one hammer, one this, one that, one that. It's literally all directly there, labelled very clearly. And I think it's a similar concept. I am also not very organised, so anything where I see is organised, I'm just like, yeah, that's all the same thing. But no, I think that sounds really, really cool.
Well, if you see my racking one side and the tools the other, it's like
Yeah,
Lovely. So
I have a
nice.
bit of organisation.
yeah. I can see where Ethan gets that from as well. Who's going next?
I'm going next.
Yeah.
And I've just come up with this now. It's actually off the back of something that myself and Carl will be doing in little over or under 2 months' time now. We're going to be running a half marathon over the hills. Oh, and Jed's going to be involved actually as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. We'll see how that goes.
Support crew.
We're going to be running a half marathon in the hills of Brixham. That's fair to say, the hills of Brixham.
No, we're going on Dartmoor.
We're going to Dartmoor, sorry,
Dartmoor.
over the... Oh, so we're going to be running by rivers and up hills and through,
Nice.
not mountain ranges, but big hills.
Yeah.
And last year I participated in Movember, in which I shaved my beard completely off and shaved my mustache and grew a lovely mustache. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that.
Yeah.
And in that, I raised just under £1,000 with a close friend, David Rodriguez. Shout out to you if you're listening, David.
Shout out, David.
And now I have decided, on a whim, on the spot, I am going to, between now and the end of this year, look to raise at least £2,000 for a charity. It most likely will be Rethink, the same charity I raised money for last year. And the first event is going to be the half marathon. Wow. So I'm going to get a link sorted. Yeah. I'm going to start raising money now. Between now and then, I'm going to raise over £2,000. I will participate in November again. So get ready for a bare-faced baby Ethan.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And where we're going to run, folks, is near a very famous prison on Dartmoor. So let's give it a title. We'll call it the Prison Break Run.
Oh, thank you. I'm really thinking about the thumbnail. Great.
Yeah. We need to get you in to title all of our episodes. You proved far too valuable, both of you. You're not allowed to not be in our episodes ever. That's incredible. And I was very lucky to be with Ethan as he finished off Movember, in which you
jumped into the sea
to thank everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
I was so proud.
Yeah. that sea was cold, boy.
Yeah.
So it was a good job.
Not as cold as that lake at freaking
in Snowdon.
These guys went in the lake at Snowdon. I was like, yeah, you guys go. That's too cold. It's way too cold.
Yeah. Way to recover your legs.
Yeah. My legs were in, but I won't get no further. Yeah, that's great. Should I go next?
Yeah, go for it, please do.
So the next 6 months, for me, is to definitely finish the maintenance of my property.
Woo!
That has to be done.
Yeah.
CCJ, but I'm not even putting that out there because that's gonna get done anyway.
Yeah.
So I think finish that and get our social moving. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for that. Oh, and secure the first partner for the box crew.
Ooh.
But I ain't gonna say who because I'm not trying to put that out there just yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, those are the main things I want to get finished at the end of this year. I've got a few investments that I want to get to at a certain point at the end of the year. I've got certain goals and I've hit 2 of them already, so I'm trying to hit the rest of them. So yeah.
I love to hear that.
Good plans.
That's what I mean.
There's a lot of growth coming in.
That's it. People know all I do growth investment, plan for 10 years time, let's go.
There's quite a few different things going on.
Yeah,
As well.
that's
quite
it.
Diverse.
As my uncle says, he goes, I hope they all pop at the same time and you can't keep up. I said, so yeah, can't wait. Who's next? I think we're over this way.
Yeah, it's got to be you, Carl.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, if they do all pop at the same time, I hope you have the facility just to deal with it all at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Because you'll have that as well. So
of course,
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, there was something else you said earlier. I'm trying to remember it. I might come to it, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things I know what it was. It's about as we get older, we can keep learn, right?
Yes.
So you can teach an old dog new tricks. Right?
Yeah.
But what I was thinking when you said what you were saying was actually when I was your guys' age, I was the laziest sloth. Yeah. I was doing nothing, right? And it wasn't until I got to about 27, 28, I thought, hang on, Carl, you've got a brain, like use it, do some stuff.
Yeah.
I was coasting. So actually, you guys are, I think, quite unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm only using my own experience, right? And a lot of people I knew are the same. Just kind of drifting along.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So you guys don't seem to be drifting along. You've got some ideas, you've got some plans, right? So how does that connect to what I'm going to do since the next 6 months? I've been doing what I do for a long time, and I think I'm pretty good at it, and I like doing it because I talk to people all the time, and I help people think about issues, help people talk about them, and I don't have to do it a lot. I'm blessed with that, right? I don't have to do it 40 hours a week, but I want to do something else as well. I want to develop another skill. So my plan over the next 6 months is by the Christmas show, folks. Well, I will have thought where I'm going next.
Okay. I love that. I absolutely love that. It's like, I'm not going anywhere just yet. I'm going to figure out where I'm going and then we'll let you know.
It's okay to think on it if you're.
Well, that's it. If you're thinking,
yeah,
of course. So, what is it that that you do that you enjoy, love doing?
Okay, so I facilitate and host meetings like where people talk about issues, and they might be problems, or they might be that they need to, and it could be like small. So I'm doing some work next week in a community centre where I live, where I'm helping the workers and the volunteers think about how they avoid getting into conflict when they're in conversation with, say, clients or other users, or between themselves. Up to, earlier this week I was running a international conference on security issues for energy, right? And people from all over the world talking about and trying to learn stuff. So it's from the community up to the international, right? So basically I'm the person who manages the conversation, gets them to do things, and I design those kind of processes, usually with my clients, so that people can have good conversations, and they can do different things in that workshop or that conference. It's not just listening to someone and everyone falling asleep and going, let's do my emails, right? So that's what I do.
Okay, good.
But I want to do something with my hands, really.
And how long have you been doing that for? Because if I'm right, you say you work for yourself, don't you?
Yeah. I went freelance in 1997.
Wow.
So, so what's that, 24 years?
Don't be scared, people. You took that jump back then and look, you're absolutely fine now.
Smashing it.
From what we know.
But the one thing I learned at that time, one of many things, was when you're an employee, right?
Yep.
You can never hope to have more than 3 months' notice, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're always on that. The economy changes; they need to make redundancies, right? If you're self-employed, it's not much different, really, because if you don't get another job, you've probably got 3 months to get find some work, right? So.
And that's if you're clued up financially as well, because some people just think, okay, I work self-employed and might not even make it to those 3 months. And I think that's the whole thing. I think a lot of people are scared about going self-employed because they live that paycheck to paycheck. Where when you're talking about going to that next step, it's the case. Well, I know I already have this. I've got that 3 months backup, than to go into that. Where some people say, I can't do self-employed. How do I start?
I mean, there's various. So we can talk about that sometimes. Not a problem, but I think you've hit the nail on the head, which is you incrementally save a little bit. So the point at which you jump, you've got a cushion. And even if that cushion's 3 months, right? That's all the grace you'd have for a job. Yeah. And if you're a smart person like you three clearly are, then
I don't know what you mean.
3 months. Would it take you 3 months to get a job in London? No, it would not.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Absolutely not.
I really like your answer because it highlights the main theme of this episode, which is reflection. And with people becoming increasingly busy with everything opening up, and people have a mindset of, I must always be doing something in order to be achieving the level of success that I aspire to, it's important to sit down and look back at things and also plan for the future in a very mindful way, and appreciate where you are at in time. Some people have achieved their goals, but they never actually take the time to breathe in and accept that and celebrate their goals, which is incredibly important to driving that success.
100%.
And I think there's something really powerful in motivation about when you say goal, what do you mean? Because if you mean a financial goal, that's all well and good. We all need financial security, right? Yeah. But there's other things which are more valuable, in my opinion, right? There are other things which also you need to think about, how am I going to get there?
So the same thing you say that, it's like I speak to someone I mentor now, and I said to him, I don't tell you to save to be financially free, I give you for you to actually have the financial freedom. I tell you to save. Because it's about having it for the means of what you want to do. It's not the case of just saving it so you've got money. It's that whole point of when your boss turns around and you say, you haven't got a job anymore, you're like, okay. And
that means the door opens.
Exactly. Because it's that whole thing. It's like you haven't saved for the last 5 years, and then your boss tells you ain't got a job anymore. Oh my God, I've only got like £300 to last me. What am I gonna do? I've got this coming out, but it's hold on. I've saved £300 every month for the last 2 years. I'll be alright, I think. I can go find something. So it absolutely completely understand what you're talking about. Amazing.
But also the thing is, it's like, when your boss, behind your boss is someone who at some point in the past, a man or a woman, set that business up, right?
Yes.
They were freelance.
Yes.
Like everyone after that becomes an employee, but the ones at the beginning, they set it up.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. It's like now everyone hates Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and whatever, but when you go back to when they was just us, like at some point, like you're saying, they was just us. There was nothing. I remember I saw something on social the other day, and it was Jeff Bezos, and he was riding around a car, and they were saying, "You're worth 9 million." He's like, whatever. Now he's worth whatever, and it's just like.
You see, I think Jeff and Elon Musk are really interesting characters because there's that aspiration to have loads, right?
Yeah.
But I think I am a living example of that you can still be really successful in other ways and not have. I mean, I've got, I know compared to most of the planet, I've got lots of money, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have millions, and yet I have a really rich life. So the other thing I think to think about is that what is it that you really want? Because you always you need enough money, right? You need food, clothing, shelter. You need to have some spare.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is about relationship. It's about how you engage with people.
It's that whole thing.
It's a purpose as well.
What you're saying there is literally what do you class as rich?
Yeah.
It's like you might have all that in the account, have no family, have no friends, no nothing, and that's what they say someone's life is like. It's like you don't have anyone around you, but you've got all the money you want.
Don't be miserable with a Maserati, right?
That's it. That's exactly it.
My one, it's funny. We've gone around a spectrum of perspective and where people see themselves and how they want to see themselves over the next 6 months. And mine will seem medial at the beginning and will grow. So for me, I've just started a challenge based on a conversation I had with a friend of ours called Jam, who runs an account called You Look Okay to Me. Which is an incredible account. Go check it out.
We'll put it down there.
We're going to put it in there. And we went on Instagram Live the other day, and she asked me, because my birthday is coming up, what do you wish to do with yourself before your 26th birthday? And I said I've just started a challenge of trying to learn where every single country is on the planet.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying that process. There's a website which I go on, and it says point out India, and I point it out, and it says point out Nepal. That's funny how I chose India and Nepal. They're right next to each other, but it goes through every single one, and it ticks them off. And I'm on the challenge of trying to be able to do that in under 10 minutes. And once I get to that point, it goes back to something that you mentioned earlier about, you've reached your fitness goal, what's the next goal? And so to go from that point, I then want to learn, because I have a massive passion for flags, but my recall of flags isn't great. So it's once I know where every single country is on the planet, and I can call that out within 10 minutes, and I can point them out within 10 minutes, it goes to, I want to learn every single national flag, and be able to call that out within 10 minutes. And those are the basic goals for what I want to do before the end of 2021. Now those goals will be easy if my actual goal is set of creating a robust, structured learning plan where I actively try a task regularly, and I build consistency and efficiency in the way I learn. Yeah. So my actual goal is to synthesize the way I learn. That's the goal, because we've spoken quite a lot about building skills and learning in this episode, and that's the goal, is to synthesize how I learn. And then the end result is just being able to, if tomorrow you guys were like, where's Barbados? I could literally just be like, right there in this moment immediately. And the same is, what's the Bahrain flag? Well, it's this one. So that is the end kind of result. But the actual purpose is to, one, love the process of learning, and to two, create the most efficient way and the most effective way to learn. That's what I would say my goal is.
But of course, everyone's method of learning is different. Everyone learns in different ways, so you've got to find what's unique to you.
Yeah, that's it.
And do you have the hope then that this method that you learn, of how you learn, you can then apply it to anything?
That's a fantastic question. I think it's more about the process of learning how to build the process of learning. I think for me, it's creating a habit, one, of chasing that learning. Creating a habit where whatever I'm doing, I'm constantly looking to grow and invest in myself, invest in my skills, and invest in my habitual learning. Because there are times where I might go every day of the week without learning unless I've gone to practice, for example, as opposed to chasing it every single day. Like I constantly, whether it's watching a show or cooking or listening to something, I see Ethan playing chess. And Ethan is constantly pushing himself to be better at chess, is growing and growing and growing to the point where it's almost an addiction and obsession.
We might have to play chess.
I wouldn't go that far personally.
Sorry, are you a part of a chess subreddit?
Yeah, well, that's just study. Along with a number of 100 other fun.
They are also addicted. But that's where I want to be. I want to be at a point where I can grow and learn. So I think it is the process I'm learning where I can see the name of a country and place it to an area on the planet. that is a very different skill than to, I think, learning a language. And I'm aware that those are different energies. I'll need different parts of the brain I'll need, and definitely different parts of time management and things like that. I know that, but it's more the process of, I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes learning this. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes focusing on this task and trying to grow. And that's, I think, what I'm trying to learn is how to just set myself that time. Because at work, I'm working. At practice, I am practicing. I don't have a set space in life like I did at school where it's like, oh, you're just going to learn for the next 5 hours. It's I now need to carve out that time. And I do it naturally sometimes, but I need to do it to a point where it is focused and forced so it becomes much more organic. But I'm not there yet. So I would say it's the process, the habit building of focusing on learning to then be able to then focus on different ways of learning and different parts of training myself so I can learn new styles of things.
So it's a habit forming thing.
Yeah, exactly
really,
that.
isn't it?
Exactly that. Which is, I'm great at it in some parts, but then in other parts I'm not. I'm great at it in the physical realm, but in the mental realm I'm still working on trying to pick that up. Which I've just recently started reading properly again. And that takes us on to our final question of the day. That takes us to our final question. I hope I transitioned that fairly cleanly to the final question of the day, which is, if you had a single book that you would like the people of the world, wherever they are, even if it's just the people in this room or the people listening, if you had one book to share and you would want people to take in, a single book, what book would it be?
I'll start.
Ooh! I beat him to it! Fantastic energy there.
Yeah. So for me, it has to be The Financial Diet.
Okay.
So the reason why I enjoy The Financial Diet and the reason why I would share it, it opens people's minds more into controlling your money, seeing where your money goes. Now, one of the things in The Financial Diet, what it said you should have 2 accounts. One account where you get paid into, another account where everything pays out of. And at the moment, that's what I do, and that's how I control where all my money goes. Now, people say, "Oh, that sounds long. It sounds too much." But the good thing about it, the bad thing about it, let's say this: if you only get paid into one account, you don't see the money go out.
Yeah.
You don't see the money go in, because once the money goes in, you just spend. It goes. For me, when you have 2 accounts, the money goes in. You give yourself an allowance in the other account. You spend that money. Once that money goes, you know, right, I've got this much left, but hold on, I need to pay for this. That needs to come out. This needs to come out. And you start to actually have a financial diet. There's many other points into the book that I think is really good, but I think it helps people start into how to manage their money and how to save their money in smaller ways. So it's one book I will recommend to share.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to jump in. Jed actually bought me this book.
Ooh!
And I hope that you're not going to say that I'm not stepping on anyone's toes today because I've done that.
He might be.
And this book will make you kinder by Henry James Garrett.
I love that book so much. It's not the one I'm going for, but I love that book so much.
That is great news on both fronts. And this book is wonderful. It's full of animations, drawings.
Still animations.
Which break down concepts from understanding the LGBTQ plus community and ways in which people should be responding and understanding the difficulties of people of colour, women, etc., but also breaks down that it makes a very good case of why we should be more kind to each other. And I am one for that. That is really great energy, and I think that we can always afford to be more kind to each other. And it gives you practical and actionable ways in which you can do that, and in which you can spread joy, which is part of what this podcast is all about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would recommend that book.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's 2. Can we get a 3?
As we're working around this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Makes it my turn.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So when I was asked this question, there was a book that sprang to mind that I first came across when I was in my 20s, and I was having a really tricky time with a particular boss that I was working for, and the relationship was kind of really strained, and I couldn't really, it kept getting quite negative, and I couldn't really see a way out of it. And I read this book, and it's like I started focusing on different things. And it's called Creative Visualization. It's by a woman called Shakti Gawain, and it really helped me kind of reframe things into where I wanted, and it helps you think about visualizing things in a much more positive way. So I wanted like a much more friendly and relaxed kind of relationship with this boss I wasn't getting on well with. And so because I was focusing on that and having a positive relationship instead of like, you know, allowing sort of negative stuff to come over me, it made my language much more in tune with what I wanted. It made the way I think my body language as well, sort of relaxed more, and I felt quite empowered by it.
Nice.
And I actually ended up applying it to quite a few areas of my life, and it was one of those books where you get out the yellow highlighter and you highlight it. I was like, oh yeah. And it's like you open it a few months later and you go, oh yeah, that really worked. Well, actually I can apply it to this, you know. And you start using it into all different sort of areas of your life. And my copy to this day, I think the yellow highlighter's kind of faded quite a lot now, but it's still there, and it kind of takes me back to that really tricky point in my life where I didn't know how to deal with the situation. It really kind of supported me through it.
That's nice. Very nice. It's nice to actually see, like, that's one thing I think people don't realise, is that you actually find things through books, through YouTube, through affirmations, where you was going through a tricky part in your life, and sometimes some people find it hard to talk to someone, and the fact that you can read something and go, I can adapt this to my life now, and it gets me through that part.
You don't have to talk to somebody.
Exactly.
It's
When it's there, and you put that into practice, and next thing you know, you got through it. So it's amazing for you to share. Thank you.
I find this question really, really difficult because I read a lot, and a lot of books have influenced me. So I'm gonna deviate. I'm really sorry.
There's always a rebel in the group. There's always a rebel.
And I'm going to suggest to everyone that first of all, they read, and they read when they can read. And secondly, if you're not enjoying what you're reading, put it to one side and pick up something else, because there ain't enough time in your life to read all the books there are, right? And secondly, think about what is it that you don't know that you'd like to know about, and find out from your friends or from the internet what book they recommend, and go with that. And if you've got a book and you're not going to read it again, pass it on.
I like that. I like that. It's not even you sharing the book there. You're sharing all those things, and it's one of the things I did when I first started reading. Because at school I didn't read a lot, and the first two books I read was Jay-Z's autobiography, The King of America. Then I read Kevin Hart's, and it's that whole thing. I'm reading about people that I enjoy watching, enjoy learning about. So why not hear more about it? And Jay-Z's book for me was amazing, like absolutely amazing. One of the first books I finished completely, and I was just like, this was amazing. And that's what led me into reading more. And that's Jed got me, and Ethan got me one of the powerful books the other day. It was the social.
Literally got it from last week.
Like
it
last
was a birthday
week.
present.
But
We haven't read it though, so it's not like we've forgotten a book that we read.
I can't remember the title, but it's literally talking about like behind the scenes and the marketing of like Google, Amazon, and Facebook. And I looked at this book and I'm like, yes, because I want to know what it is you do. What do they think of how they do things? And it's that whole thing you're saying. Find something you want to know about, and that's the way you read it. If it's a case of find something how you become less stressful, read a book about being less stressful or how to get over stress. People don't understand that you can find it in a book and it can actually help you. So those great tips. Great tips we can actually put out there.
Thank you so much. I think.
Do you have a book though?
I thought a lot about this, right? So I'm going to settle on this. Right?
Okay, because from your tips there. I say you should give a quick fire of your top 5 books.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
From one
He said, I'm not going to give you one, and you said, okay, give us 5.
Because you read so much.
What about 5 books to read right now? Not top 5, but 5 books that you might like to recommend.
Okay, so number 1, right? And it was a book that really enabled me to understand the experience of black people, particularly black men in America. It's by Ralph Ellison. It's called Invisible Man. It was written in 1952. It's a fairly controversial book, but he goes on a journey. The author, Ralph Ellison, was a member of the American Communist Party. He was a Marxist, and he kind of had that analysis, but he talks about an experience in various different ways. So that opened my eyes up to another person's experience of the world and the
Yeah.
oppression that they faced and the history of it. So that was really powerful.
Okay.
Another one that was really impactful in my early life was reading a book by a woman called Marge Piercy, who was a Jewish woman from Chicago, and she wrote a book called Women on the Edge of Time. Right? And it's a science fiction book, but it's about this woman who is really, really oppressed in this world, but is liberated in another world, and about the contrast between them. So that kind of gave me some education about how women were, and gave me an early thing into feminism.
Yeah.
So that's and they're both quite easy to read. I suggest them.
Yeah.
The other one, this one's a bit more flaky, but it's quite an interesting because there's a North American kind of spiritual woman called Starhawk, and she wrote this book called The Fifth Sacred Thing. Right. So in a lot of spiritual practice, the four sacred things are earth, air, fire, and water. The fifth sacred thing is the human spirit. Right. And she talks about a future where in the north of California, there are these people who are very, very diverse. You know, they're really into renewables. They're really, you know, they're really into preaching love and practicing it, and they resist against this kind of fascist type organisation to the point where of basically using non-violence to resist a powerful army, and they win. Right, they win through love. Right, so that was a powerful book. Right, so the fifth sacred thing by Starker. That's 3, right?
Yeah.
3, yeah.
The fourth one I'm going to recommend, and this is a controversial one.
Yeah.
I am by nature an atheist.
Okay.
Right? But the best grade I got in my school at the time we didn't do GCSEs, we did O levels, was in scripture. Right?
Okay.
So the Gospel of Mark, right? So forget everything else in the Bible, right? Because if you're a Christian, it means you believe in Jesus Christ, right? And Jesus Christ's message was love everybody.
Yeah.
Look at it from a different perspective, and particularly pay attention to those that are oppressed and marginalised, right?
Wow.
As it says in the Gospel of Mark, it's harder for the rich man to enter the heaven than anybody else. To pass the needle, right? So that's a radical.
Can you just say it one more time?
That's a radical gospel, right?
That was real big.
It's harder for a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for him to enter heaven. In other words, you know, if you're rich, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
He didn't quite say that, right? But it was this. So that's 4, right? Number five coming up close. Okay, a really recent book this year. It won, I think, the Man Booker International Prize. It's by an author called Richard Powers, who's a North American author. It's called The Over Story, and it's about the human relationship with nature, but specifically through 5 or 6 stories that are about trees and saving forests.
Okay.
But it's told from different types of perspectives. So from the one, you know, the activists who sit in the tree, through to kind of local authority government who has to look after stuff. So it's told from different perspectives.
Yeah.
But it's some of the best writing I've ever read, so it's one of the few fiction books that I'm going to keep rather than giving on.
Okay.
Because I will read it again.
Nice.
But you know, that's me, right? So someone else is going to have another flavour of something.
Yeah, that's it. But the thing is, why I asked you that question, because you said already you read so much.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it took you maybe 5 minutes to go through 5 amazing books. And it's not that you're just listing the books. You can explain what that book did to you, why you read it, and it just shows you how powerful you take into reading and what you take from reading. So thank you for sharing that, and let the people see that actually reading is completely, and the thing is, not just like it's completely so wide variety. You took a book that taught you about race, taught you about culture, taught you about the way people, as in like their religion, and it's all different areas, and it's that whole thing, like you said, pick up something you want to know about. And it shows you picked up so many different things that you wanted to learn about and wanted to actually to take in, and that's an absolutely great thing to be able to do.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Fabian.
Thank you. You said I'm not going to name one, and then we're challenged to name 5, and you took that challenge.
Easy.
You hit that challenge.
That's what we do in Motivation Moments.
So thank you so much for that, and thank you for all incredible options. I'm gonna go. I'm just thanking everybody first. So this is a fantastic question. First of all, because on our Instagram every Tuesday we put a new book into our book club. We review it and we post it up. So this is fantastic. Expect some posts about the books that we've mentioned here today.
Definitely.
The book that I'm going to mention is actually the first submission into the book club, which is The Alchemist. This is a book, first of all, I've spoken about it before, it's tiny. It is tiny. It potentially will take you 2 weeks. It'll take me 2 weeks to read it. It'll take my mum 30 minutes because she is such a seasoned reader. The Alchemist, in short, the shortest way I can possibly mention is about dreaming. and taking your dreams seriously and challenging yourself to chase those dreams head on, to not do anything but incessantly chase those dreams. And that is a philosophy that I believe in, and I would love to align my soul with even more, is chasing my dreams incessantly. So I would say The Alchemist, because whenever I pick it up, whenever I read a page, I just feel a burning fire deep in my heart to chase my dreams. And so I would say The Alchemist is the book that I recommend for anyone, because it definitely sends you further into wherever you want to be.
Yeah. What copy?
I'd
like to have a look.
Yeah.
Jed, you've got to tell us who it's written by though.
Yeah.
Paulo Coelho. Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
I almost forgot.
Did Jed almost get caught off guard?
I did. I'm rereading it currently. So if I couldn't remember that would have been the worst. So we have come to the end of our podcast, and I want to finish with, and I'm going to put them on the spot again, as we've done quite a lot today. I would love to know a mantra or a lesson or a lasting message you would like to leave with the people, because we don't know when we're going to get you guys back on. So we want a final message, something that you would love to share with our wonderful listeners and viewers.
Okay, so consider how you will behave if you think about the fact that the non-human is more important than you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I need to unpack that. Could you unpack that for us?
Hold on. Think about
How
how you would behave.
if the
the
non-human
non-human
is more important than you. And what I mean by that is we live in an interconnected biosphere, a little planet with a thin little thing around the outside of it, and we're doing some things to it, right, as human beings. So if we paid attention to all of that was non-human and then lived in a way which was for that benefit, the non-human, how would we behave?
Okay. I like that a lot.
I could go. I already know, like, I could probably sit down and talk to you for the next 3-4 hours. Literally, it'd be crazy because, just that alone, I've got so many things. Because of wrapping up, I'm not gonna go into it. And we will go further on more. But amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, mine's a bit simpler because I've, for many years, I suppose, gone by the theory that if you don't ask, you don't get. Whether it's asking for help because you need to know, whether it's asking for a recipe, whether you want to know how to do something, whatever it is, you just need to reach out there and ask.
And you know what? I'm gonna pick up on that fact, and it's like, it sounds so simple, but it's so true.
It is.
And for me, it was before COVID. I was supposed to go LA and work. And that only happened because I asked. I asked the team to say, can I come out there? Can we give it a shot? And they said yes.
I want to do that. Can I do that?
You know what I mean? That's it. And it's like, if I never asked, I would never have known. And it's that whole thing is like, you don't ask, you don't get. And it's like we always say, the worst thing they can say is no.
Exactly. And sometimes you have to be a bit brave sometimes to ask sometimes. But you know, like you say, the worst thing that you can just. But that shouldn't stop you asking.
No, why should
Exactly that. And with those 2 gems, with those incredible beacons of wisdom to hopefully lead you into this incredible week, we have come to the end of our podcast. Kate, Carl, thank you so much for being on our podcast.
It's been great to
It's
share
been a
with you.
pleasure, absolutely a privilege to be with these 3 amazing men.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you. We're definitely going to have you guys on again.
Love the energy in the room.
Thank you so much, guys. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hopefully this past episode brought you joy, brought you wisdom, and hopefully warmed your heart a little bit. Have an incredible time wherever you are. We are over and out.
Peace.